The most terrifying part of this story isn't what happened in the dark bathroom. It's the fact that nobody ever learned who the man was, why he was there, or what might have happened if two teenagers had stayed hidden just a few seconds longer. Back when I was 16 and in my junior year of high school, life felt predictable. My days followed the same routine. 9 class periods, lunch during 5th period, then astronomy immediately afterward. Astronomy happened to be held in one of the strangest classrooms in the entire school. My high school was enormous. It had 3 floors packed with students, yet even that wasn't enough space. Years earlier, the administration had converted part of an old janitorial area in the basement into 2 classrooms. They remodeled the space so it resembled a normal hallway, but there was still something unsettling about it. Students called that section of the basement the chamber. The nickname stuck because the place felt isolated from the rest of the school. There were only 2 classrooms down there, a small hallway and a bathroom. No intercoms, no loudspeakers, no morning announcements. The basement existed almost like its own separate world beneath the school. Oddly enough, students loved getting classes there. The air conditioning worked better than anywhere else in the building. Teachers assigned to those rooms were usually considered easygoing. There was even a private bathroom that nobody else used. To most students, it was a hidden luxury. To me, though, it always felt a little creepy whenever the hallway was empty. That afternoon started normally enough. Our astronomy teacher handed out a quiz. The material was easy for me, so I finished long before most of the class. After turning it in, I sat for a moment staring at the clock, already bored. Then I pulled out my phone and texted my friend JJ. He was in the other basement classroom. "Meet me in the bathroom," I wrote. A few seconds later, my phone buzzed. "Okay." I slipped out of astronomy and walked down the short hallway toward the bathroom. The fluorescent lights hummed softly overhead. The hallway was empty except for me. A moment later, the bathroom door opened behind me. JJ stepped inside. For the next few minutes, we did what most teenage boys do when they're avoiding class. We joked around, talked nonsense, and wasted time. Nothing seemed unusual. Nothing felt dangerous. Then JJ looked down at his phone. His expression changed immediately. "What?" I asked. He stared at the screen. "Someone just texted me." "What did they say?" He looked up. "The school's going into lockdown." The two of us exchanged the same grin. Neither teacher had seen us leave. At that moment, all we saw was an opportunity. What we didn't realize was that somewhere above us, something had already gone very wrong. The news of a lockdown should have sent us straight back to class. Instead, we reacted like a pair of bored 16-year-olds. We were hidden away in the basement where there were no speakers or announcements. If anyone questioned us later, we could simply explain that we never heard the lockdown order. It seemed harmless. JJ shrugged. "You want to go look around?" I laughed. "Why not?" The idea sounded exciting. The hallways would be empty. No teachers, no crowds, just us wandering around the school during a lockdown. At the time, it felt more like an adventure than a risk. We left the bathroom and headed toward the stairwell that connected the basement to the main floor. The heavy door creaked slightly as JJ pushed it open. The second it swung outward, both of us froze. The hallway beyond wasn't what we expected. Every light was off. The corridor stretched away into darkness. Only faint light from distant lobby doors illuminated parts of the floor. For a moment, neither of us spoke. This wasn't normal. We had experienced lockdowns before. Usually the lights stayed on. Teachers locked classroom doors and students stayed quiet, but the hallways never looked like this. The darkness immediately made everything feel different. More serious, more real. "What the hell?" JJ muttered. We stepped into the hallway anyway. Our shoes echoed softly against the floor. The silence felt unnatural. Schools are never truly quiet. There is always a distant voice, a locker closing, footsteps somewhere. Now there was nothing. No sounds. No movement. Just darkness. I felt the excitement draining away. Something was happening. Something we clearly didn't understand. Then JJ suddenly stopped walking. "Who's that?" His voice came out low and tense. I followed his gaze. At first, I couldn't see anything. Then a shape appeared. A person, far down the hallway. The figure emerged slowly from the darkness. For a few seconds, I assumed it might be a teacher. But as he moved closer, details became visible. The clothes, the posture, the appearance. This wasn't a teacher. This wasn't a staff member. This wasn't anyone either of us recognized. The man looked completely out of place. His clothing was dirty and worn. His appearance was rough, almost like someone who had wandered in from the street. Every instinct in my body suddenly screamed that something wasn't right. "All right," I said immediately. "Let's go." Neither of us waited. We turned and hurried back toward the basement door. I glanced over my shoulder once. The man was still coming, and there was no question anymore. He had seen us. The realization hit me like a punch to the stomach. We rushed back down into the chamber. Both classroom doors were shut. Both rooms were dark. We didn't want to interrupt class and create a scene, so we made a decision that would lead us directly into the most terrifying moment of our lives. We ran into the bathroom and hid. The first thing I did was switch off the bathroom light. Darkness swallowed the room instantly. JJ and I hurried into the farthest corner stall and squeezed ourselves inside. Then we waited. At first, neither of us spoke. The silence became overwhelming. Without the lights, the bathroom felt completely disconnected from the world outside. There was no ventilation running, no humming machinery, no voices from classrooms. Nothing. Just darkness. Just silence. And the sound of our breathing. I could hear every inhale JJ took. I could hear my own heartbeat. Somewhere near the sinks, water dripped occasionally. Each tiny sound seemed impossibly loud. Drip. Silence. Drip. Then the bathroom door opened. Light flooded the room for a brief moment. Neither of us moved. The door closed. Darkness returned. My stomach tightened. Someone had entered. We listened. Footsteps. Slow. Measured. Coming deeper into the bathroom. Closer. Closer. Then they stopped. Right near our side of the room. Neither JJ nor I dared breathe normally anymore. And then we heard it. Heavy breathing. The person outside the stall sounded exhausted. Like someone who had been running. Or searching. Each breath echoed through the silent bathroom. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. I felt frozen. My eyes were locked on the stall door even though I could barely see it. The person remained there. Not moving. Just breathing. Seconds stretched endlessly. Maybe even minutes. I honestly couldn't tell. Fear distorted everything. Then JJ made a mistake. A huge mistake. He leaned toward me and whispered, "We have to crawl through the other stalls." His voice was quiet, but the room was so silent that it may as well have been shouted. The breathing outside stopped instantly. Every hair on my arm stood up. The person had heard him. There was no doubt. The silence that followed felt unbearable. Then a sudden pressure hit the stall door. Someone was pushing against it, testing it, trying to open it. My pulse exploded. "Go," I whispered. "Go." JJ dropped to the floor immediately. I followed. We crawled beneath the divider into the next stall. The metal floor supports scraped softly beside us. Behind us came another shove against the door. Harder this time. We moved faster. One stall, then another, then another. My knees slammed against the cold tile floor. The banging started. Violent. Aggressive. The stall door rattled under repeated impacts. Whoever was outside wasn't casually checking anymore. They knew we were there, and they wanted in. The sound echoed through the bathroom. Bang, bang, bang. The entire stall shook. My chest felt tight. Every instinct screamed at me to run. We finally reached the opposite side of the bathroom. I pushed myself upright. JJ did the same, and together we headed for the exit. But before we escaped, the darkness revealed exactly who had followed us downstairs. We burst out from the stalls and sprinted toward the bathroom door. The moment I grabbed the handle and pulled it open, bright hallway light spilled inside. For a fraction of a second, the entire room became visible, and I saw him, the same man from upstairs. He stood near the corner of the bathroom, watching us. His appearance looked even worse under the light. Dirty clothes, disheveled hair, a face I had never seen before. The sight of him erased any remaining doubt. This was not a student. This was not an employee. This was someone who absolutely should not have been inside the school. JJ and I exploded into motion. We ran straight for his classroom door. Both of us pounded on it desperately. "Open up." The door swung open. The teacher immediately pulled us inside. The room was dark, just like every other lockdown classroom. Students sat silently along the walls. Their confused expressions shifted to alarm as we rushed in. The teacher locked the door behind us. JJ immediately began explaining what had happened. His words tumbled out rapidly. Then he said something that shocked me. He had a gun sticking out of his pocket. I stared at him. I hadn't seen any gun. Not once. But given everything else we'd witnessed, I wasn't about to argue. The atmosphere inside the classroom changed instantly. Students who might normally laugh at something like this weren't laughing. Nobody was smiling. Fear spread across the room. Then came a loud bang. Everyone jumped. Several girls cried out. Another bang followed. The sound came directly from the classroom door. I looked toward the narrow window. The man was standing there, looking inside, trying the doorknob. The teacher remained perfectly still. Nobody spoke. Nobody moved. The man stared through the glass. Then he struck the door again. A hard, angry impact. The room felt frozen. Every student watched in silence. I could hear breathing, sniffling, the faint creak of someone shifting their weight. Outside, the man continued testing the handle. For several terrifying moments, it seemed like he might somehow get in. Then, just as suddenly as he had appeared, he stopped. He stood there for a second, turned around, and walked away, through the hallway, toward the stairs, toward the main floor. No one followed. No one wanted to. The classroom remained silent long after he disappeared. We had no idea where he went. We had no idea what he wanted. And worst of all, we had no idea whether he was still somewhere inside the building. Time moved strangely after that. The lockdown continued. Minutes felt like hours. Hours felt like days. Inside the dark classroom, nobody spoke unless absolutely necessary. Students remained gathered together along the walls while the teacher occasionally questioned JJ and me in a low, concerned voice. Each time we repeated our story, he would shake his head. The details clearly disturbed him. Outside the room, there was no indication of what was happening elsewhere in the school. No announcements, no voices, no footsteps, just uncertainty. Every now and then I found myself staring at the classroom door, expecting the man to return, expecting another bang, another attempt to get inside. But he never came back. Eventually, after what felt like well over an hour, the teacher's phone rang. The entire room looked toward him. He listened carefully. Then he nodded. The call ended. The lockdown was over. Or at least, it was safe enough to evacuate. The teacher instructed everyone to line up in single file. The room rose quietly. Nobody joked. Nobody pushed. Nobody acted like normal high school students. We filed out of the basement and walked upstairs. The journey felt surreal. Soon we exited the building. Outside, police officers were waiting. Patrol cars surrounded parts of the campus. The sight immediately confirmed that this had been far more serious than any of us originally imagined. JJ and I spent time speaking with officers, the dean, and school staff. We described the man as best we could. His appearance, his clothing, the way he followed us, the way he stood outside the stall, the way he tried getting into the classroom. One officer listened carefully before patting me on the back. After that, we were allowed to go home. In the weeks that followed, the school reacted quickly. Security measures increased dramatically. Cameras were installed throughout the building. Additional precautions were implemented. Everyone understood that something dangerous had happened. Yet strangely, the incident never received media attention. At least none that I ever saw. No public updates followed. No announcements about arrests. No confirmation that the man had been caught. As the years passed, the unanswered questions remained. Who was he? How did he get into the school? What was he doing during a lockdown? And why did he follow two teenagers into a basement bathroom? To this day, nobody has ever given me those answers. What I do know is this. I can still remember the sound of that heavy breathing outside the stall. I can still remember the violent banging on the door. And I can still picture that man standing in the darkness, staring through the classroom window. Maybe we'll never know exactly what his intentions were. But after everything that happened that afternoon, I remain convinced of one thing. If JJ and I had stayed hidden in that stall, even a little longer, the outcome